Hello, everybody. Good Thursday afternoon to everyone. How's everybody doing today? Hoping you're liking the market action today. Off the highs of the day here, but another solid follow through. This is all on the heels of Micron earnings today, and we're going to dive into Micron and other stocks in that sector, whether it is semis and AI, whatever it might be, to see what can follow through, which stocks have the potential to maybe pop like Micron did. But before we do that, let's run through real quickly what the market is doing here, everybody. So S&P's still positive, but they've given up a lot of the gains. They're up about 10 points right now. The NASDAQ, which was up really big earlier, went negative for a little bit, is just barely positive. It's up about 40 points right now. The Dow, which was the big loser yesterday, it's the big winner today. That is up over 200 points. As you can see, and I got Micron on the screen now, that stock is up about 13%. It was up earlier and traded to a high of 114.80, another $6 higher from there, from where we are right now. Maybe some profit taking. You know, if I had a long position in there, I certainly would have done some profit taking. And like I said, we're going to look into some of the other stocks here that are connected or similar to Micron to see if what they said about their earnings and about guidance can actually kind of hold for the entire sector. Hello, everybody. See lots of people in here. That is awesome. Really appreciate that. And yes, I don't know if it's most importantly or not, we will be doing the wheel spin today. So a little bit we'll get those names. But for right now, what I want to talk about is something that just happened. And we don't see it happen all the time. It does happen. News came out in SMCI. Okay. As you can see, the stock is down right now, $72 or about 16%. News came out, I don't know, it was probably 45 minutes ago, an hour ago or so, that the DOJ is, probing into them, kind of like what they did Visa the other day. So we saw a massive drop. And the stock, if you had noticed earlier, and I'm highlighting it on my list right here and up here as well, it's not doing it right now, but it turned red a few times, okay? The stock itself was noted in red. That meant that there was a trading halt. Okay? We do see trading halts in the marketplace. Sometimes, like for SMCI today, it was because of volatility. Sometimes it is because the market overall, the S&Ps move too much. So let me go through real quickly what the rules are. What the rules are for trading halts and when the circuit breakers, the actual circuit breakers, go off. Okay? So for overall in the S&Ps, okay, from the prior day close, okay, the first trading halt is if we see a downward move of 7%. Okay, and this is in the S&Ps, guys. If we see a downward move of 7% from the prior day's close, the market is going to shut down for 15 minutes. Okay? For 15 minutes. What that allows, the thought process is, what that allows the market to do is get things back in balance. Okay? Because when we see, S&Ps drop 7%, obviously what's happening is the selling pressure is just massive. Selling pressure is just massive. Okay? And can everybody see what I'm writing on the screen now? I just want to make sure you're hearing me okay. And you can see my yellow scribble on the screen with SMCI up there. Can everybody see that? Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay, great. So the first halt's at 7%. After 15 minutes, market opens back up. Okay? The next trading halt comes if there is a 13% drop. So not an additional 13% drop, okay, but a 13% drop from the prior day close. So that would be an additional 6% drop. If that happens, 15 minutes again. Okay, 15 minutes again. And then the last circuit breaker, does anybody know what the last circuit breaker is? And yes, as I always say, you can look this up on the internet if you want. But there is one more circuit breaker. Bingo, Jake, you got it. Nicely done. Nicely done. If we see the overall market, the S&P's down 20% from the prior day, trading is halted not just for 15 minutes, but for the rest of the day. No matter when it happens. It could be at, 8:45. Well, it couldn't be at 8:45 in the morning because we'd have two other halts. It could be at 9 in the morning, Central Time. It could be at 2:59 in the afternoon. If we see the market, the S&P's down 20%, donezo for the day. Okay? Now, in addition to the overall market, there are also trading halts for individual stocks like we saw today with SMCI. Okay? Couple different ways there can be a trading halt. A, if there's a huge change in the stock price, and B, volatility. Okay? So, if a stock, and we're talking about all the stocks that we kind of look at, stocks that are in the S&P 500, the NASDAQ, the Russell. So these are all stocks that are $3 and higher, not penny stocks. Okay? If we see a move of 5%, okay, and that move lasts for 15 seconds or more. So not just, one print and then it comes back in the line, but if that move happens and it lasts for more than 15 seconds, okay, stock is going to halt. And the stock will halt for 5 minutes. Unlike if it's in the S&Ps where it's 15 minutes, here it's 5 minutes. Okay, now, another big difference is this plus or minus 5% move, it's not from the previous day's close. It is actually calculated from the average price of the last 5 minutes. Okay? So that's how that is calculated. Okay? Now, there is no threshold to how many times a stock can get halted for the day, like there was in the S&P, where if it gets to that 20%, we're done for the day. We are done for the day. Okay? And just remember, if you happen to have an order out there, so in our room, in the OpVol room today, we actually have a resting order in SMCI where we want to sell an iron condor. Okay? The order sits in the queue. Okay? I won't say it's live because there is no trading. If the stock halts, there's no option trading either. But the order does not disappear, meaning that as soon as the stock reopens, your order will become live again. Okay? It will become live again. Great Chicago song, by the way, Alive Again. I think I got to play that. All right, so I wanted to go through this just because again, I want to hit on something that is relevant to what is going on right here, right now, and we saw that today. Any questions on that before we move on? Any questions on that at all? Speaking of that song, Alive Again, my buddies, you guys know my band that I support, that I talk about all the time, this Russian band, Chicago cover band, they actually just released that song a couple weeks ago, Alive Again. Not sure if you can hear it. I got it playing in the background a little bit here. Hopefully not loud enough to drown me out. Hopefully you can hear that a little bit. Yeah, Jake, there you go. You got it, man. Anybody that wants to see the video and listen to it on your own, there you go. Can you guys all hear that by any chance? I want to do it just so it's very, very kind of muted in the background. Okay. All right. Now, let's talk about what I intended to talk about today. And that is Micron and how the change in Micron today, given the great earnings results and the great guidance that they have, how can it affect the rest of the market? Okay, so let's take a look at Micron here. It's actually up a little bit from when we just started a few minutes ago. Okay, it's still off the highs of the day, but trading up $13 or 14%. That is a massive, massive move here. And in the world that we're living in with so many stocks in a particular sector so interconnected, okay, well, what happens in Micron? Does that mean we're going to see it in other semi stocks? Does that mean we're going to see it in other tech stocks, in AI stocks? What are we going to see happening here just because we're seeing it in Micron? So some of the other, thank you very much, Mike Clark, didn't know how to do that. Thank you. I appreciate it. Okay. Visa, hang on. I'm looking back in the chat here, guys. John Berg, with both Visa and Supermicro being reviewed by DOJ, is the general market concerned with an overactive litigation situation with the DOJ? I think there's always, John, to that question, there's always kind of an overriding hint at that. I'm not so sure the timing of this makes it that we're going to see more and more of this. I'd like to think that, it came out because there are issues they're looking at right now and not for any other reasons, not for any political reasons or anything. So I don't think I would really worry about it or look potentially for other stocks where the DOJ might go after those companies and then try and take a position in it. I think that is just really, really tough to do. Okay, so Micron, let me give you a quick background here on Micron and what they reported and what it could mean. Okay, you look at this stock here. This was June. Okay, stock was on decline a little bit here, and then after earnings, boy, that thing just plummeted. And why? Well, if you go back and read what their report was back on their June earnings call, okay, basically they mentioned that there were a lot of concerns out there about non-AI, the non-AI part of their business really, really slowing down. Okay, so the market didn't like that. saw a nice big pop up. Stock got hit again. But now they're the first chip maker to report quarterly earnings this season. Okay. And pretty darn good, pretty darn optimistic for the entire sector. Okay, because what they said, what they reported, and most importantly, what their guidance was, is that they are benefiting hugely from AI. Okay, but the other businesses that they were talking about concerns of non-AI portions of the business slowing down, have leveled off. And so they gave a really, really upbeat, positive guidance for the November quarter, for the next quarter. More often than not, guys, when we are looking at a company or we read about a company's financials and what happened with earnings, it's really the guidance that means more so than what the actual reports are. So the fact that they came out with really, really good guidance, that's giving Wall Street in general a lot more confidence about probably the overall market, because we know that tech, AI, the semis, they've really led the market for the better part of the last year, 18 months, whatever it is. Okay, so other stocks to look at. What does it mean for other stocks? Well, the first one we all think of is NVIDIA, right? So NVIDIA is kind of a beast of its own. And Micron, actually, I don't know if you know this, Micron actually does not compete against NVIDIA. Micron actually partners with NVIDIA. They supply memory chips to NVIDIA. Okay, so you would think then that if Micron is given really, really good guidance here, that would be really something good for NVIDIA as well. And did everyone's screen just go blank here and you just see a lot of Prosper logos here? I was trying to mess around with the wheel here and it looks like I hit something not so good. So let me try and get all this back up here. Okay, I'm working on it, guys. As you know, I am not the most tech savvy individual there is. So I think I've got everything populated back again. Okay, yep, I got everything populated again. So Micron, NVIDIA. Well, look at NVIDIA here, and we've looked at NVIDIA over the last several weeks. This thing has been really, really range bound. And we've talked about how it really needs to break this resistance area. This resistance area right around 129, 130, in my opinion, to break out to new highs. Okay? It's down today. It's down today. What does that mean? Does that mean I'm bearish or bullish on NVIDIA? Not necessarily. But what I wanted to bring up was just because Micron reported great news doesn't necessarily mean another stock similar is going to react to it. Now, on the other side of that, we have a stock like AMAT, Applied Materials. That thing's up 4.5% today. And that's despite, let's move in here. Remember what we talked about yesterday, guys, with moving averages and the death cross and the golden cross? So look right here. AMAT just formed a death cross. The 50 crossing down below the 200. Incredibly, incredibly bearish for that individual stock. But then we look at the reaction today because of Micron, and the stock is soaring. So what do you make of this? Here's what I make of this. I think AMAT can actually continue this rally all the way up. Probably there's not really any resistance till we get to this gap here around the 230-ish area. But what I would want to see first before taking a bullish play here would be a potential retest of that area right there where the 50 and the 200 is. So that's right around, right around 198-ish. And if it comes back down there and holds, boom, it's going to be off to the races. Okay, what about AMD? What about Intel? Stocks directly related. Well, AMD got a nice pop today. AMD, that traded up to 168 already, so it's about $3 or $4 off the top here. It's got to be a good outlook for AMD if it's a good outlook for Micron. Intel, kind of a beast of its own. I say that because Intel is trading as much right now on the possibility that another company wants to buy them. There are those rumors of QCOM and then a private equity firm coming in. So Intel is one that I wouldn't really look at Micron as a proxy for Intel. Now, one that really is incredibly promising to me, and that's for a couple of reasons here. A, because of the Micron results, but also because of what is going on in China and all of the stimulus and what's happening with Chinese stocks as well. Taiwan Semi. Okay, Taiwan Semi. If this thing can clear, look at this chart here. If this thing can clear right where it was last earnings, okay, which is right around the 190, 191 area here, that's what I would look for the impetus to get long it. Okay, but look, we talked about moving averages. Boy, oh boy, look at that jump right there. This was just back on, this was the market sell-off, guys, August 5th. We talked exactly about this yesterday. Stocks not really coming down and hitting back to their 200-day moving averages. Here's one on that massive panic sell-off that came right down to its 200-day moving average. And what did it do? Boy, have we seen a pop from there. Okay, any stocks that you guys want to look at now? And then also, while I'm fielding some questions for that, also put in the chat here if you'd like to be entered into the contest for our spin the wheel today. You never know what kind of Prosper gear we're going to give out. I'm wearing this great vest today. I've got this t-shirt on today, our Short Striker shirts. We've got lots of stuff here. So put your stocks in the chat. Francisco, we got you. Let's get all your names entered in here, please. Okay. And then I want to look at some of those stocks. Jake, spin the wheel. Let's do it, man. Gene, spin the wheel. All right, come on, guys. Keep putting it in here. Keep pumping up your names here. I'm going to look at a couple other stocks that were on my radar relative to Micron. Broadcom is one of them. AVGO. Okay, Broadcom. After the split that they had, massive split, which was right here. Look at this again, guys. Let me focus in on just a 3-month chart. Look at that and look at that. What is that? Those are both 200-day moving averages. And look at the reactions there. Look at that reaction in both of those. Okay, so Broadcom, much like Taiwan Semi, is getting back up to all-time highs. If this thing breaks through there, boom, I'm in. I am in. Great stock. Outlook for the outlook for the sector, really good. Okay, that's what I'm looking for in Broadcom. Now, to go from Broad to Q, let's talk about QCOM, Qualcomm. Okay, another one. I see what you guys are putting in the chat here, and I'll get to a bunch of these here. Okay, QCOM, here's one. We got the 200-day moving average right on August 5th there, like a lot of stocks. What are we going to get right here? This is a make or break. We've got the 50 and the 200-day literally right on top of one another. 50 cents apart. but with the 50 trending down lower than the 200. Okay, if that crosses down below, that's a very, very bearish sign as we have gone through. Now, this little bit of a pop today, excuse me, that might help. That might help. Okay, but we got to watch for that. And we just put up, does everybody see the question up here for our survey? Will the S&P finish up or down today? Give us your vote here, guys. Give us your vote. Okay, love that. Love that, love that, love that. Because right now, as we're speaking, S&Ps are on their low of the day. They are still positive, but on their low of the day. Okay, so we got to make sure, or we got to be really, really careful here and watch for that. Excuse me. Okay. Mike Clark, are you working on the wheel? Because I want to get to a couple stocks before we spin that. Okay, SMR was one of them. SMR, New Scale Power. Okay, New Scale Power. Well, tough chart to look at here. Sorry, Robert. I know I think you've actually asked about this one before. Tough one to really look whether it's going to break out here. There's nothing technically here that tells me about a move either way. CEG, Constellation Energy. Donald wanted to look at that. Relates to Microsoft. Okay. Big, big break on this. You can see this big gap here, guys. And let me tell you what I think is really, really significant. Okay, look at where the stock opened on that gap. Okay, it's no coincidence. It's no coincidence that that was at the former highs. Okay, so when I look at this now, based on that, this area of this former high and pretty much the bottom of that gap there. So right around 235, 237, that area, that's going to be critical support. If the stock trades back down there, that is going to be really, really critical support. Okay, is it going higher from here? I don't know. But that's an area that I would have an alert set out where if it trades back to that area, I want to get long it there. Does everybody see that pattern? Okay, we are about to wrap up here. Maybe we got to do these things a little longer. 30 minutes is it just, for me anyway, 30 minutes literally just flies by. As always, if there is anything here, guys, anything at all that you want to see, that you want me to talk about, please put it in the chat. Or please, send us an email. Okay? Before we go to the wheel, we're getting that together right now, Mike Clark, hopefully. Before we go to the wheel, we're going to put up a reminder. Mike Shore has a live webinar tonight. Mike Shore for his short-term trading room. If you are interested, okay, have at it here. There's a link here in the chat. Okay, there is our wheel. We got it ready to go. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Let me pull that up here. sec. Me. Lots of me's. All right. Are we ready here? Let's get a spin. All right, guys. Here we go. Here we go. Who's it going to be today? New winner today. Mark, is it? Yep. Mark Diggs. Way to go, Mark. Way to go. Okay, if you can send us an email, Mark, and I'm putting the email up here right now. Send us an email to prosperswag@prospertrading.com. Give us your address and the size that you wear. We'll get that right out to you. Okay? Thank you, everybody. Again, seriously, you're very welcome, Donald. I want your suggestions on things that you would like to cover. Maybe things that, we don't talk about in the rooms every day. Okay, I definitely want to get into those specifics. So thank you very much, everybody. Having an awesome day. Sign up for Mike's webinar for tonight. You see the poll there, basically 2-to-1. 2-to-1 winding up versus down, and we'll see you live from the floor tomorrow at noon Central Time. Thanks, everybody.